But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.
Welcome to episode 53 of the Outer Voices podcast.
Yay.
We are your hosts, Keem and Esme. You came in too quickly on the yay.
Yay!
I wasn't done with the intro yet. Ari, wait for your introduction. We are welcoming back Ari for this week's show. If you've heard them on one of our past episodes, I can't give you the number on that episode right now because I can't remember the episode.
You've heard them on 3 past episodes.
Yeah, 3. It's been 3?
Yeah, it's been 3.
Jesus, I don't
Halloween, Not Okay Cupid, and Discordianism.
Holy shit. I don't remember 2 of those episodes.
That kind of sucks.
Oh. I hope this isn't like the sign of something like bad.
It probably is. Let's be real.
Everything's the sign of something bad eventually.
I don't want to go. I don't want to lose my memory yet.
Anyway.
Guys, so yeah, we have a lot to talk about this episode. Some of us are, let's say, had a good Friday last night.
Yeah.
Some of us, others of us are on the verge of a nervous breakdown. That one's me. Yeah. But yes, we are here to bring you another fabulous show. So we will get into the news first. I know Esme has deferred her news to the sex segment, so our news should be short. So who's ready to get a little depressed, guys?
Who's ready to do what?
Who's ready to get a little depressed?
Oh, wonderful. That's
Yay.
already kind of in the background for my entire life, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's right. And this is actually kind of a slightly in tune with our topic for today, which we'll get to in a moment. But earlier this week, the child. So I don't know if you guys remember back in 2014 during the protests for. It's sad that there's been so many police brutality and shooting victim protests that I can't remember all of them.
Yeah.
Anymore. But during the one, I think it was the one in Ferguson, Michael Brown.
Yeah.
During the protests for that, one of the big photos that was circulated around the internet was this picture of the little black boy with like the free hug sign hugging the police officer while crying and all this stuff, and warms everybody's heart and shows that we can actually work together and all this whatever nonsense. Well, this week that child, Devontae Hart, is missing, presumed dead. Along with the entire rest of his family.
Shit.
I think it's 5 children and their parents. The children were all adopted by a white lesbian couple who proceeded to drive themselves and the children off a cliff.
Fuck.
Yay.
There were numerous reports to child services of abuse in the household. The children were often at the schools, and from neighbors reported to have been like malnourished because the parents would punish them by not feeding them, forced workout regimens so they could stay fit, and so on and so forth. Which they haven't found these. So they have found the bodies of the parents and I think 3 of the children. No, the bodies of the parents and like 2 of the children, I think, and 3 other bodies haven't been recovered. Which brings me on a subject that I haven't gotten to talk about much, but it's definitely a thing, especially in the the traditional liberal community of token adoptions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, or those of you who just want to overlook it because of the whole white savior thing, very often liberals who especially want to, put the image out that they're, down for the cause and stuff, will very often adopt black children. You can see it with, you see it very often with celebrities, just going and grabbing random children and, placing them out and whatever, showing them off. But it happens pretty often. They will, white liberals will go and adopt black children and to save them, quote unquote, because let's just be real. And very often these adoptions will lead to reports of abuse, mistreatment, and all kinds of really horrible stuff. In fact, because of it, some African countries have actually banned adoption to Americans.
Huh.
Yeah. This has been happening over the past couple of years, where African countries have banned adoption of like orphans to Americans because of this issue. White liberal Americans going and getting little African children. It really speaks to it speaks to the concepts we have of traditional liberalism right now. Well, not right now in this country. That you think you're gonna solve problems by going and saving some poor black child that can't do anything on their own to make yourself look good.
So did you know that Memphis has actually has a really interesting history with this?
Yes, I actually do, but go on.
And I don't remember what her name is. Do you remember what her name is? But there was a woman who, decades ago, in the early part of the 20th century, who became really well known as a resource for wealthy couples in Memphis who were looking to adopt children. And it came out well after the fact that what she was doing in order to find children, young children, specifically young, like black babies, right, for these white rich people to adopt. What she was doing was she was using her position in a she worked in a hospital. Mm-hmm. She was using her position in the hospital to literally steal babies from black parents, and then pretend and then put them, like, give them to white people as if they were orphan children.
Oh yeah.
And like that's a pretty like prominent piece in Memphis history. Like there are prominent like people in Memphis who still are like feeling the effects of this. Like their uncle
Yeah.
or whoever was one of these children, and all this. Like, this is a thing that exists still.
But yeah, no, there is totally a trade of black children. Of either stealing or either taking black children from parents, or especially young black mothers, convincing them to give up their children to give to wealthy white families. Like, it's a thing, and it's been a thing for a long time.
I mean,
And
the
that's-
entire nation is founded on the principle of monetizing black bodies.
Right, but it's something liberals don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about it. It's very interesting, and this is something I've noticed growing up. So, white liberals, of course, they go and trade little black kids and stuff and raise them and save them, blah blah blah. You know, conservatives do something very similar, but you know what children they get? Chinese.
Yeah.
It was always the thing especially when I was growing up, you could tell when like the ultra Christian families got like a little extra money, they would suddenly adopt a little Chinese baby.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, this was like growing up where I did. This was my only interaction with like Asian people at all growing up until I got to college. But it's just crazy. It's just wild to me that people are quite literally buying children as a status symbol. And in the worst, in this case with this family, this is literally your worst case outcome.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
an
fucked
entire
up.
family, 4 or 5 children, all their lives gone, abused and used for a photo op. And this is how the story ends. Like we got to start calling that shit out.
Yeah.
And extending on from that, when you see another thing that this isn't even just white liberals, white people in general like to do is not even with just like not even with like adoption, but we're gonna go to this country and help out, quote unquote, and we're gonna post all the pictures of all the good we do, all the good we've done, and then when we come back to the U.S., we're gonna talk about so much about all the good we've done because we're heroes and saving these poor little brown children.
Yeah, what's the word for that? There's a word for that. I forget what it was.
I don't know.
Of the business, like the literal actual business of like sending primarily like white college students, right, to countries full of brown people so that they can, help solve the problem of poverty or hunger or whatever in that place. And all they do is go and take a bunch of pictures of them helping and then get to come back and talk about how great they are for going and helping. And there's a word for it, and I don't remember what it is.
I can't think of it right now either. I know it's one of those silly Cation portmanteaus.
Yeah. Anyway.
It bothers me so goddamn much, and we have to start calling that shit out because, man, people on the left will call it out with conservatives all the time, like, oh, you you're saying you want to help somebody, but your politics say otherwise. But you got to start calling that shit out on the left too. Like, you don't like, oh, hippie Becky, you don't get to go to the Sudan and give this little black kid a water bottle and take a picture and fly home and brag about it.
Yeah.
Man, get your shit together.
Admittedly, I feel like on a global level, we can't really call the kinds of liberals that are so up their own ass that they would do that actually on the left. It's mostly just we think of them as on the left because America's Overton window is fucked to hell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but see, we probably don't have but maybe one international listener, so I'm talking to Americans.
I mean, true, but admittedly, probably our listeners are aware of how fucked America's Overton window is.
See, I would hope so, but I'm also guessing that most of our listeners are white liberals who probably get caught up in this shit too. So,
I mean, admittedly,
yeah.
I have caught myself getting caught up in some white nonsense when what I really want is just nonsense.
Right. I mean, we've talked about some of the features of white people yesterday.
Yeah. It's a good thing I'm a moth person.
Yeah. It's wild.
Because those guys sounded scary.
If you go back and read some of the stuff we talked about, you enjoy it because white people are scary, yo.
I mean, I might be able to just pull up the transcript and read it off for our listeners if that's something we want to do. But I'm not sure whether that would be quite quality programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save that.
All right.
But I will say one thing. Don't use black babies for tanning purposes.
Yeah.
But it seems like they turn out all right based on what you were saying. They mostly become Canadian rappers after they've been used to tan.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ken's all right, but he's had some struggles.
True.
So maybe tanning does adversely affect some of the black babies.
People are gonna tune in and just be confused as fuck. What the hell are they talking about?
I am confused as fuck.
You'll learn one day. Look, I may add that to the show at some point. Keem's white people facts.
And Ari can be the confused moth person asking what a white person is.
Oh my God. Anyway, that's it for my news story. Do you guys have anything? Oh, before I go, I will add this on, completely separate. I think it's today. I'm not sure. I may have the days mixed up. Is it today or tomorrow? But I think today is Trans Visibility Day?
Yes. Wait, yesterday. No,
Yesterday.
Today.
No, okay, see?
Today.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Today,
for some reason I thought it was
the
Sunday
day that
already.
we are recording.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
the
today,
day
the
that we
day
are
that you're
recording, not
listening.
Monday when this will be out. But
yeah, but on Monday it was Saturday.
Yes.
yeah, on Saturday.
On
we did
Sunday
some
it
time
was
travel
yesterday.
here.
On Tuesday it's whenever the hell you want. You should see trans people everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
They,
Anyone
but
you
yeah.
interact with could be a trans person.
it's
In fact, if you engage them thoroughly enough with gender theory, it's likely they will become trans in some sense. Likely just in the non-binary sense, in my opinion. But then that's my personal experience bleeding in rather than
Yes.
anything verifiable.
So
But
the
yeah.
point is, if you talk to everybody that you interact with very deeply about gender theory, we may emerge into a world where gender no longer has meaning, at which point everything will be wonderful.
Well, at least we'll emerge into a world
I'm
where gender doesn't have all this fucked up social
gender
tied up
yes.
in it. And people can finally just get to the point where gender is just your personal experience and how you want to identify, as it always should have been.
And then we will have at least worked on that problem in society.
So talk to people about gender theory.
Real gender theory.
Me? No, not me. Not I. I know next to nothing about gender theory because I am your standard cishet black man.
Okay.
So
You know more about gender theory than most standard cishet black men by virtue of interacting with us people.
Yes.
that
You've
is
gotten
true.
way more exposure than the average, I'd say.
But see, I would not like to call I would not point like say I would not be the person that goes, yeah, ask me about gender theory because I'm not the person.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot to be said about staying in one's lane.
Right.
All right.
But yes, so to all our trans people out there, we love you.
We see you. You're awesome.
Yeah,
We'll see you.
go be visible in the world, and hopefully people will be forced to engage with their ideas about gender and realize
Right.
that they were wrong all along.
Or,
Or maybe
do what feels safe to you. That's
Yeah.
a thing, too.
that too. If you feel strong and ready to be visible,
Be visible.
then be visible. If you don't, it's totally fine. Like, your mental health is more important.
And
Right.
physical safety and all of that.
Yeah, like literally all of that shit.
Do
every
you,
single
but we
bit.
love you.
Also, in considering this is also like the week where last week with the White House doing that military bullshit. Fuck the White House.
Yes.
I mean, but don't literally, because it's an inanimate object and it cannot consent.
No, you know what? You know what? If you want to, go fuck the White House. Because there will be an interesting protest.
I don't know, but do we
I don't
need
think
to...
I don't think that consent applies to non-animate
Exactly.
objects.
Are we certain, though?
I mean,
You
I mean,
you
there
can't
is-
sexually assault the White House.
Can you not?
Have you seen it? It was asking for it.
Wow. Excuse me. I was kind of just getting onto a weird point where it's like, but what if animism and everything has a soul, whether it's animate or not?
Nah.
Then again, yeah, that gets into weird territory because then, like, do you have to get the consent of your sex toys?
yeah,
How
no,
would you even
I'm
do that?
really fucked up about my sex toys now.
I'm sorry. But at the same
Also-
time, I'm kind of not,
I'm
because
not
that's fun.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Also, the White House only had soul when Obama was president. 'Cause-
Though,
Get
admittedly,
it?
I feel like most of that soul came from Michelle.
True, because she was the truest black person in the White House. She was a real one.
Of course, I'm not an expert in soul, so I can't speak to that. With
Look,
any
you guys
credibility.
live in Memphis. You guys live in Soulsville, USA. You should pick up something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, trans people, you guys, we love you.
Yes.
You know, there's one person that couldn't be trans, though. I will say, it's John Cena, because you can't see him.
This is a weird.
Crickets.
Yeah,
This is
that
a
was
whole
a strange...
weird episode full of weirdness.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I'm in it.
I'm trying to lay down some hot jokes, and it's a dead crowd, yo.
Yeah.
But John Cena, if you're listening, you can be trans if you want to be.
Yeah, you can, John Cena, I guess.
We believe in you. You have the power. You can be trans if you want to be.
Damn it.
Whether you're visible or not, we believe in you.
I'd watch that movie.
An invisible trans John Cena just trying to make his life. Or their life, or her life,
right.
whichever trans identity John Cena took.
Trans John Cena trying to be visible, but you can't see him. I would watch that movie.
Anyway.
You're welcome, Hollywood. You're welcome. Free idea.
If anyone from Hollywood is listening, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me.
Anyway.
Oh my God. Let's get into the topic segment after a brief musical interlude.
Mannequins unaware that they decay, rotting behind polished windows, choking through mouths closed tight by molten wax, talking shit to a guy that they don't know. Everything we say means so much less. Unaware of those that know us best. Fashioning X-flames from synthetic parts. Fucking what we thought we once knew. Peering out of eyes sewn tight by broken glass. Talking shit to a god that they don't love. Their lines of science must not cross. Whoa, thank God our intellect is all but lost. So take the tape off our mouths. Our words must float towards the clouds. Mannequins unaware that they decay, rotting behind polished windows, choking through mouths closed tight by molten wax, talking shit to a god that they don't love.
And welcome back, everyone. And we are moving into our topic segment. Oh, God, I gotta sneeze. Sorry.
Anyway, our topic segment for the day is radicalism. And what we're starting with is A.C.A.B,
Yay.
which some of you may be familiar with, some of you may not. Basically, anyone who first comes across the acronym is immediately like, what the shit is this? Why would you even say that? And I'm gonna ask everyone to fucking bear with me, because it's a lot more nuanced than people think, and it's very important for people to recognize.
Hold up. Keem, what are you doing?
What?
What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
There's a ton of crackling noise. It sounds like you're rubbing plastic up against your microphone.
Sorry, I think it's my beard.
Oh yeah, it is your beard.
Aw. Anyway, but as I was saying, so A.C.A.B gets a lot of pushback initially because people don't actually take the time to engage with the underlying ideas. And
So let's just assume that Some of us don't know what A.C.A.B stands for.
I'm aware. I'm trying to lead into it softly, stating outright what I'm saying.
Okay.
Before they tell us the acronym.
Yeah.
Before you just shove it in.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, anyway, there's a lot of nuances to it. It's very important for people to at least recognize this information and engage with it critically rather than just saying, oh, well, no way. These guys are totally on my side all the time.
When I first heard it, I just kind of shrugged and went, yeah, that sounds about right. But anyway, that's me.
A.C.A.B stands for All Cops Are Bad, or All Cops Are Bastards, depending on who you ask. Admittedly, I like the word bastard, but it feels a little needlessly gendered.
Also,
Lady cops are bastards too.
we don't know these police officers' parentage, so they may be legitimate.
Yeah, that too. They may have a legitimate claim to their copy throne. So, anyway, but the idea, before anybody gets super angry and super, offended, I guess.
Oh, no, you get fucking angry and offended.
Oh, yes, do, but not in the direction I'm currently trying to prevent.
Okay.
What I'm saying is not that every person who is a cop is a bad person. I am not saying that it is impossible to be a good person out of uniform and be a cop, necessarily. What I am saying is that the that the job of being a police officer at its very core is based upon upholding morally repugnant laws. And as such, while you wear that uniform, you are morally repugnant.
It's basically saying, policing is bad.
Yeah. The actual
police structure,
job of policing is terrible. It is based on a foundation of racial profiling and just fucking class warfare, essentially. The police's true core job is to protect private property rights and to ensure that the status quo is maintained as far as, power balances and shit. As such, the police are not actually your friends. The people in the uniform could maybe be your friend if they went and grabbed a beer with you after their shift or some shit. But, the police, as an overarching entity, as a collective, do not care about you.
There's a word my people, there's a phrase that my people have, the African American community, and that phrase is called "fuck the police."
Yeah. Fuck those pigs. Make some barbecue.
But it's very it's very interesting when having these conversations. And I mean, there's a very similar conversation when people say all men are bastards, or man, white people are racist.
Yeah.
It's not meaning, hey, you're specifically a shitty person.
Yeah.
It's the system that you're in is fucking shitty. And that's what we're commenting on. That's what we're fighting against. I actually, on a similar tip, I've had this conversation with my sister pretty often because she has gotten with certain white friends and just you're always saying white people are racist. But so-and-so here, I don't think she has a racist bone in her body. She would never say anything that's racist, and
I assure you she has multiple racist bones in her body.
And I've gotten to very heated arguments with my sisters. I'm not saying this person is outwardly Like, pardon my language, I hate niggas. But
I like how you continue to apologize for that.
well, look, when I'm around white people, sometimes I apologize for saying nigga.
Well, I don't know, man. You have every right to be a part of that reclamation. Like,
I do, but sometimes white people aren't ready to just hear nigga. Like,
no, but you know us.
Plus,
yeah, but
anyway,
some of our
plus the
listeners,
whole point of the reclamation is to confront them about that idea, about those ideas around that word.
Well, yeah, I just don't want to scare them off. We need our listeners here.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah.
So this turned into a whole tangent. Sorry.
I mean, but I do have a little bit of a take to share on that.
Go for it.
As a white, perceived as male person, I am racist, I am sexist, I am transphobic. I am all of these things because society has implanted those ideas into my head. I am not saying that I am openly hateful of any of these people, simply that I have within me somewhere those horrible ideas, those horrible, shitty ideas socialized into me, and I have to unlearn them.
Right, like everyone, like every person. And I'm gonna say the shit right now. This is for everyone. Every single person is involved in those negative structures somehow.
Yes.
You are not special. You are not good. Like, oh, I'm so good and I do this. No bullshit. Like, you are involved somehow. That's actually which brings me to the recent young man who was shot in the back by police officers in California. The protest this week during the protest this week, some information came out about him saying some very awful things about black women, and which brought up a debate on whether should people still be protesting him getting murdered because he was involved in some really shitty behavior.
Yeah, that's a pretty important point here recently.
But as fucked up as it is, he was still an unarmed person, shot in the back for no reason other than the color of his skin.
Yeah,
just like he has some very shitty things that should not be supported. Every one of us do. That doesn't mean we, allow these structures to stay in place. Doesn't mean we make a ruckus.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as it were.
Right.
I mean, absolutely you should be willing to correct and call out. Well, I mean, I say call out, but you wanna do that not necessarily in an aggressive kind of like I'm trying to tear you down because you said this shit kind of way, but more of a hey, this isn't good. We just need to let it be known this isn't good.
And once again, I'm sorry for veering off course. It's actually slightly on course. But I've been having a real issue in certain communities where when it comes to situations like that, it has become like with the call out culture, it has become a let me attack this person and eliminate them.
Yeah.
Instead of calling out the behavior and trying to figure it out, and here's one thing I always say: not everybody is when you see somebody doing has some really fucked up behavior, go to them because not everybody is not everybody is going to continue doing the bad shit they were doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they need help not being a shitty person.
Exactly.
Or not doing something shitty.
There have been multiple times in the past where I've accidentally said something shitty and just not even realized it. Like, it's completely possible to be, like, just accidentally uncritical of a certain idea because it was something that was presented to you when you were young or when you were in a vulnerable state, or just something presented to you by someone you trusted. And, like, you just accept it uncritically and you don't realize it's a problem until somebody says it is. Like, that's how knowledge works.
Right.
Yeah, but it is frustrating trying to approach people that way. Like, if everybody in the world understood what we are talking about right now, that everybody has internalized shitty ideas, and what we ought to do is work to get rid of them. Yeah. Right? And so I fully believe that any of the three of us and most of our listeners, if somebody came to you and said, hey, you said this super problematic thing, we would all say, sorry, I didn't realize that. And then we would proceed to go educate ourselves on why it was a shitty thing. Mm-hmm. People a few steps behind where we are would say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was shitty. Tell me why it was shitty. And, like, demand that the person doing the call out do some education, which is not fair. Right? And then there's a large percentage of people that will respond to being said to some. If you say, "Hey, that's a shitty thing that you said," they will say, "Fuck you, you're wrong. Why is it? That's not." And it gets really hostile. But I don't think that it's fair. Or one of the reasons that it's so easy to do things online and to do them anonymously is because so many people, if you go to them personally, that turns into now you're doing labor for them. Yeah. On educating them on what was and was not shitty, which ideally we would all be able to do, but also that takes energy and it takes it takes emotional health and it takes mental health in order to be able to do that with every person who says things that are fucked up.
Yeah. See, I'm not saying like you need to do that with like every person that pops up. If you can't handle doing it, don't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also, it kind of comes with the territory. Like, you're gonna have to. It's not fair. It's not fair. But sometimes you're gonna have to do it.
And admittedly, we've been talking about this as being some kind of aside, but like this is very much on topic. Like, for me, my radicalism is based on social justice. Like, right. I am super an SJW. I wear that badge.
Okay, so to be real though, I literally don't know anybody who considers themselves radical that their radicalism is not focused in social justice.
That's entirely possible.
I don't know anyone who's a radical. I know
of some people who consider themselves radical where their focus is mostly economic. I know of, not no person.
And see, but I know people who consider their main focus of radicalism economic because the economy is fucked up and advantages certain people over others.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like my economic stances are so strong because but I don't see myself as first and foremost on an economic basis. I see myself as first and foremost on a social justice basis. Because, like, even as a child, even, like, when I was in, like, middle school and such, I considered myself a feminist, even though I didn't really know what the word meant or what it meant to be a feminist.
Oh, my God. This reminds me of an OKC message I sent to a guy. I took a chance on him. He hasn't responded. Yeah. I was going through his questions, and on the question that says, "Are you a feminist?" he answered, "To some extent." And I'm like,
Why would you
All
think?
right, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
To what extent do you consider yourself a feminist? And he has not answered me.
Yeah, he's not going to answer you. And if it does, I can already tell you that's not going to be a conversation you really want to want.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? He could be somebody who just has been misled on what feminism even is.
Yeah.
Like, it's entirely... Because there are tons of people who just don't want to call themselves feminists just because they've been fucking pummeled by this idea that feminism is only this raving pink pussy hat person trying to stomp all over everybody else while vying for, like, women in positions of power when that doesn't even necessarily fix anything.
I call that feminism.
You call what?
I said I call that white feminism.
It is white feminism.
Yes.
It's also bourgeois feminism.
Yes.
Anyway, go on.
I don't know.
Oh, you considered yourself a feminist in middle school.
Yeah, admittedly, I considered myself a feminist starting in middle school, and even before I knew I was gay, I felt like a kind of kinship when I first started to see news about people trying to get gay married. There's kind of a fucked up story around, like, me and my dad from when I first started getting exposed to that issue, where, like, I was like, so why can't they marry? And he was like, do you even know what marriage is? And it turns out the implication he was trying to pull from me, he was trying to pull for the argument, was that marriage is what you do in order to be able to fuck without it being a sin. And my answer was just, it's a pledge to stick with each other forever and love each other and support each other. And I feel like that's probably truer to marriage even now.
See, I'm the asshole that would have went if my father asked me that. It's like, do you know what marriage is? And I would reply, do you?
Well, admittedly, I was like 9. I didn't
still at 9.
Like, I didn't know to challenge him. I was just really fucking confused because I was like, it's a pledge to stick with each other and do all this. And he was like, if that's all it was, then I'd go out and marry my best friend Bubba right now. And I was like, dude, okay. And I was sitting there like, I feel like there's a layer to that you're missing.
Yeah. No, marriage.
But I was 9, so I didn't know to fucking challenge it. Yeah.
No, marriage is an inherently oppressive institution that is quickly losing relevance.
Yeah.
Admittedly,
legalize
I didn't know
marriage.
that at the time. I was just thinking that marriage was the ultimate form of, like, a good romantic relationship because I was 9 and that was what I was socialized to think about it. Like, but even now, what I would think of as an ideal marriage sort of thing would be that kind of just pledging to stick together and be supportive of one another even in harder times. Like,
see, and we'll go into views of marriage possibly on another show, but I am very, like, legal marriage is bullshit.
The institution
however,
is...
I am all for the concept of this, like, marriage, like, for the social reason, because in all reality, socially, it's like what marriage is, how it evolved in humans was humans needed a way to guarantee socialness. They needed to guarantee they would be able to take care of one another. So they created a social contract going, okay, we're going to stick with this person or these people and take care of one another. Like, it's evolution wise, it's purely a tool for social cohesion.
Yeah.
Now,
but that's not what marriage is now in America.
Because everything
sucks. That's not fully what marriage was to begin with anyway. Like, marriage always used to be like a political contract. or like a business contract where essentially you were selling your daughter into sexual slavery to a man.
For the purposes of ensuring your mutual survival, right?
Yeah,
theoretically,
well,
right? It formalizes an alliance between two tribes.
Yeah,
that was once once tribal societies occurred. There may have been concepts of marriage before that even happened. So we just don't know because we don't have a lot of information before that.
Yeah, I mean, and admittedly, I'm mostly just talking about, like, European history at present, because that's what I know that this shit came out of.
Sorry, we did it first.
I mean, I'm aware, but I mean, like, the marriage as a political contract, it's, like, a thing that evolved to our society by way of the Europeans.
Right. What? That's also not quite
all right.
accurate.
Well, history isn't my lane. Go ahead and educate me.
Yeah. Mostly because the idea of it...
you don't have to educate me. That was another point that we were just talking about.
It's not really a thing. I was just going to say, like, the concept of marriage as a, tribal political contract existed before Europeans even set up stuff like that. I mean,
okay.
This is gonna sound weird, but you guys were still chilling out in caves when that was happening. I'm sounding very Afrocentric right now, and I did not mean
to. Okay. Yeah, like, oh my God, black people are amazing. Who would have thunk?
We had some shit going before some people showed up.
Yeah.
Fucked it all up. Anyway, where were we?
Who even knows?
There's no direct structuring to this. I intended this to be more roundtable than anything else anyway. I didn't have anything planned. I just knew that I wanted to start off with A.C.A.B. because there had been some cop talk coming up in some of the previous things.
I will hit on some radicalism stuff because, I mean, I very much, of course, consider myself a radical.
Which, by the way, could we actually talk about each of our individual, like, perceptions of the word radicalism and why we identify as radicals and potentially even what kind of radical we identify ourselves as?
Oh, sure. You guys go first, though.
All right. Well, I believe myself to be radically queer.
Yes.
For one, I'm slowly growing into they/them pronouns, and I am intending to work my way into having a more gender-fucked, like, a more outwardly queer appearance in public. Like, I'm A.C.A.B, and I've started painting my nails, and I'm hoping to start getting in on some makeup, and I've got nice, beautiful long hair and a big old beard, and yeah. So I consider myself radically queer. My specific, if we want to get to one person's specificity, I consider my political ideology to be anarcho-satanic, Discordian, queer, just a big bunch of words thrown together. So, yeah, I am in favor of an overthrow of capitalism. I'm in favor of normalizing all sexual and gender identifiers. Which, yeah, that comes to another... That'll be a later point. But... And I want all this... I don't know. I want all the races to be equal. That's not exactly my lane, though. So I can't fully speak to that, but I'm gonna, like, try to be an ally as best as I can to those fights.
Let me tell you a little secret about especially about that one. We're all in, like, like that's your lane. You just gotta drive over into it.
I mean, like, the only political button I presently walk around with right now is the Black Lives Matter button. I did have like a Philly pride flag as well. So now it almost feels a little performative just having the Black Lives Matter button because I don't have anything that represents me up.
If we're going buttons, I can hook you up with some buttons. We can get y'all buttoned up. You can be buttoned.
I mean,
we'll get you some buttons. We'll get you some buttons. I'll talk to Noor.
I do also have the trans pride one that I got, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to like wear that yet.
That's fair.
But I'm thinking of getting myself like a Sharpie and putting they them on the trans pride and putting that on my backpack.
Anyway.
Next up.
I have not spent as much time as Ari apparently has, defining for myself what radicalism is for me. Although, like Ari, I'm coming at this from a perspective of social justice, and I sort of like fell backwards into radicalism, where the more I learn about how our society runs, the more it has become extremely clear to me that the only real way to fix the problems is to tear it down and start over again.
I'm so proud.
I know. Thanks for that one, Keem. Like I said, I kind of fell backwards into radicalism. So I don't have a lot of definitions for what that is for me and how that looks. It's certainly centered around social justice and restructuring the society that we live in to be not shitty. Basically, to everybody who is currently oppressed by the society that we're living in. So that's the thing.
Yep.
But yeah, the structures of this country, and in fact the structures of like the entire world right now, for the most part, are real fucked up and are just going to continue to get worse until we all decide to tear everything down and start over again. Which is a scary prospect, but also necessary.
It makes me so excited.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are like really vibing on some end times, both end times prophecies and end times like.
That's the thing. I'm not vibing on end times. See, end times imply that it's all over after that. No, fuck that. I vibe on new beginnings.
I mean, yeah. End times, however, it can mean multiple things, I feel. A lot of people say apocalypse when they really just mean the dismantling of the present society. And the formation of something entirely new that is very foreign to us.
Which kind of gets me into my radicalism, which I generally just refer to as radical revolutionary. I am pro-black. I am black as hell, radically black as hell. If no one has figured that shit out, listen to the show.
I'm pretty sure that you've explicitly said that on multiple occasions.
I feel like we should just go back through all the podcasts and make clips of every time you said you were black as hell and present it as evidence, like on the Facebook page or something.
Shit, like if no one's figured that one out. I'm also, like I said, revolutionary as in the way the world societies are structured right now has to go. Not just needs to be fixed, because it's not going to be fixed. I'm sorry, it's not going to be fixed.
Yeah.
It needs to go. It needs to be torn down and rebuilt. I am a social egalitarian. I not purely socialist, because that doesn't work. I am socially
We can have
egalitarian.
that conversation at some point.
Here's the thing with that stuff. I'm all about my concept of reality and concept of life is that life needs balance. Like reality, everything needs balance to work. Mm-hmm. There needs to be a homeostasis, and when you pull too far to one side or the other, there will always be problems. So honestly, I could say I'm also radical in that way. I am radical in I radically find balance, like radically balanced.
Okay. Wishing to find the proper chaos amidst the hodge and podge.
Yes. Because that's studying like history and at this point law. You see that most things we often talk like everything is just evil from that start point. Like every bad action starts off as evil, but that's never the case. In most cases, most bad things started out with a idea that somebody thought was good. They thought they were doing something to help. They thought they were doing something that was going to be beneficial. And that idea was always taken way too far instead of balanced out. Mm-hmm. Like that's generally how most things go. So that's another reason. Like I focus on finding balance, and some would say, oh, well, you're talking about tearing down society. Isn't that going pulling too far on one side? It's not balanced. Sometimes you can't balance things out. You gotta sometimes when you're mixing something, let's say you're mixing a drink, and you're trying to balance the sweetness and the alcohol and all this stuff, and you keep mixing shit in there trying to balance the shit out, and it tastes like absolute garbage.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta pour that out and start over and rebalance your shit.
Yep.
And that's all I'm talking. That's all me. It's not, and also that's not gonna be easy. It's gonna hurt. People are probably gonna die.
People die all the time.
Yeah, you can't make a well balanced breakfast without breaking a few eggs.
Though admittedly, it is always preferable to go the path with the lower loss of life if possible. If possible, without also fucking everything up that you're actually trying to accomplish.
I will say if possible, but it's likely not going to be possible in the long term.
Admittedly, yeah. We've fucked ourselves so hard that unfucking is going to pull some prickly hooky bits out of there, and that's not going to be nice.
Here's the thing: has anyone ever been unfucked? Once you're fucked, you're generally fucked. You're trying to you're trying to repair it afterward. Yeah. But once you're fucked, you're fucked. No one has ever been unfucked.
Yeah.
That might be the title for this episode. Unfucked.
No one has ever been unfucked.
No one has ever been unfucked.
All right, so let's see. So that's. Hold on. I
would say, if you don't know a direction, I would say try how we can discuss how people exercise their radicalism, because not everybody can exercise it the same way. Which I've had difficulty with, because I get pretty out there and vocal, and I see some people who often claim oh, I'm down with the fight, I'm down with you, and then when it's time, when I'm out here when I'm doing stuff, I'm doing it, and they're like, "You got this." I used to get pissed before I realized that everybody can't do me like I do me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like exercising and just like exercising the things that you are radical about or passionate about can be hate to go back to my word, a balancing act.
I mean, if you're informed by temperance, then let temperance be your guide.
Right. See, I've already come to the conclusion that my black ass will likely be assassinated at some point.
Well, I hope not. Personally, speaking selfishly, I would prefer that you stick around.
Yeah, I don't want to get too old though. That seems like it sucks.
Well, I don't know. It depends. If we can actually do something that gets healthcare sorted, it doesn't have to be too terrible.
Yeah, but I can't remember shit now. I don't want my mind to go.
Yeah, that can be absolute hell, not only for the person experiencing it, but for the people around them.
I mean, like I'm not opposed to going out in the blaze of glory. Like,
yeah, there's a certain, I don't know if I want to say romance to it, but there's a certain appeal, absolutely, to going out with a big old bang.
I could use a big old bang. That just slipped out.
Most of us could, excepting the asexuals among us.
Yeah.
True.
So my favorite thing to do about my radicalism, so I teach, and I'm very slowly fucking up some kids.
And I'm glad you I'm glad you said fucking up, because if you left that word out, you would have been in serious trouble.
I know, right? I'm fucking up some kids. Their parents are going to be annoyed with me if they figure out what I'm doing. But I'm not. What I'm trying to walk that line, right? So that's a whole thing, right? Like, I don't actually want to actually get anybody mad at me, but I tell the truth if they ask me things, mm-hmm. and I ask leading questions sometimes and make them think about stuff. So, like, I actually had an interaction with a couple of my seniors a couple weeks ago, where one of them is apparently in a relationship with two people. She has a relationship with, she has a boyfriend and a girlfriend, mm-hmm. and her girlfriend has another boyfriend, mm-hmm. and this other kid was talking to her about all this stuff, and he was like, "Wait, so that you this and he's like, and so your girlfriend's boyfriend knows that she's dating you, and he's okay with that?" And they went. He was extremely incredulous, and I'm just standing there like, I'm not talking. I'm just standing there, and he looks at me and goes, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "I think that it sounds like they're all being honest with each other, and that nobody in that situation has a problem with it." And he goes, "So you think it's okay?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter if I think it's okay. It's their relationships."
Beautiful. That's the perfect way to put it, I think.
Yeah. If they are happy with their situation, they're not doing anything that's illegal. I can't do anything about it, so my opinion is not relevant here.
Yeah. That's adorable. The little polys.
Yeah.
The little baby polys.
The little baby polys. Poly, pansexual, amazing people. I'm like, I love you guys. You're so great. You're so great.
I'm not yet a practicing poly. I want to be a practicing poly. We'll see.
It's real hard, though.
I mean, I'm willing to do the work to connect honestly with multiple people. Mm-hmm. Like that's the core requirement, and I feel like I've got it.
God, we need to have that show. We still haven't gotten that poly episode.
We're gonna do it. It's gonna be great. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I'm only tangentially related to your quadrangle.
You're in the group.
I'm in the group, but I'm not actually like involved in the poly relationship. Actively.
I don't even know what it's called, what it is anymore. It's just weird, like, amoeba of a relationship.
It's the polycule
configuration.
It's a non-Euclidean engon of love and relationships.
Polymoeba.
I still like polycule the best.
See, I say polymoeba because sometimes amoebas reach out with like their little amoeba arms and like suck other things into them.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That is an accurate statement of how this whole situation has formed.
Petscop is a living organism.
Yep.
Yes. Anyway, what was the other thing? Oh, my kids were. I had a couple of kids in my classroom talking about protests and stuff, and I was sitting there, and one of them said something about Black Lives Matter, and then looked at me and apologized.
Wow.
But this is a kid who doesn't know me. Like he's not one of my students.
I just feel so bad that they even have to feel like
he was in my room. He doesn't actually know me that well. He was in my room talking to one of my students, and he said something about Black Lives Matter, and then he looked at me and apologized, and I'm like, why are you apologizing? And my other student looks at him and goes, no, it's okay, she's cool.
That's beautiful.
Whisper, she's one of the good ones.
I am wholeheartedly on board with that dogma being reversed on white people right now. Like, don't worry, they're one of the good whites. Because I grew up in a rural southern community where I constantly heard about how this black person or other was one of the good ones, with all that implication that brings about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm totally down for turnabout being fair play on that one.
That was always my secret growing up. I was never one of the good ones.
Yeah. Ooh, no. I'm going to tell you one of the ways that my radicalism is actually showing up in my teaching practice, which is that this is a really small, this seems like a really small thing, but it's actually extremely important when you're talking with teenagers, right? Which is I'm normalizing body stuff, right? Like I've had especially like with periods and stuff. Like I've had female students come up to me and like cover their mouths and say, "Do you have a pad?" And I'm like, "Yes, absolutely." And I'm just really chill about it. And they get really freaked out for a brief moment by like how not embarrassed I am to say, "Yes, I absolutely have a pad in my office. Let's grab it." And like, I don't say it loudly because they're obviously embarrassed by it, but I am like very chill about it. And it's got, and it's helping. Like it just to help, especially like girls talk about like, just have that be a normal thing.
Yeah.
Right. That it's just a thing that exists and it's not something to be embarrassed about or ashamed of. Yeah. Right, that's an extremely important message for them to have.
Yeah,
it's sort of like this thing that happens regularly, about once a month.
Yeah,
periodically.
I mean, fucking menstruation is experienced by half of the population. Yes. There's no reason for there to be that ridiculous taboo around it.
Yep.
Like, sure, maybe it is kind of gross, but so is literally everything else your body does.
Yes.
Have you seen a poop?
Exactly. You have pooped before. You know that gross stuff comes out of your body sometimes.
Sometimes gross things go into your body, depending on who you are.
Sometimes.
Yes. But
sometimes that is a deeply pleasurable experience. Who's to judge?
Yes. That groan from Esme just then was like gave me life.
We're having a whole conversation, and then you took it to a whole other place.
That's what I do.
I mean, admittedly, it's an undercurrent to most of experience for those of us who aren't asexual, which I do sincerely apologize for all of the fucking sex I bring into conversations for any asexual listeners. Like, I don't mean to make anyone uncomfortable.
True.
Yeah, but that's the thing that I do that is actually an extremely personally important way that I do that.
Yeah, And that's great. That's a very good thing. And that's not even like, I feel like that shouldn't even be considered radical necessarily. That's just fucking human compassion. But human compassion is radical now.
Yes.
And we are radically compassionate. But
also we exist in a society that polices the experience of like female people for the purpose of male pleasure. And so normalizing an experience that society tells them that they should be embarrassed about, that isn't actually worth being embarrassed about, that's a little stab at the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Like, fuck you, I'm not going to be embarrassed about this normal thing that my body does just because men tell me that it's gross.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
But at the same time, you used male and female, and that actually brings me back to the thing that I was going to talk about, but like said, okay, that's a thing for later. So let's get into it.
I thought about it, and I did use male and female because I was talking about the views that society imposes on all of us.
Yeah. But
I did that consciously.
A quick primer, like the radical queers have been evolving constantly on our view of gender and its relationship to sex and what sex even actually is. Like, you had Chris...
Oh my God, I have a whole thing about what sex is.
Yeah. You had Chris come on and talk about how sex is not that neat binary thing, because honestly, literally everything we experience in life, everything that we codify and put into terms is every like symbol that we make for something that we experience is an oversimplification of that experience.
Yes.
And sex has been grossly oversimplified.
Yes.
But anyway, one of the big developments, initially there was the thinking that sex and gender are one, and your sex is purely physical, and it informs your gender. That is the bioessentialist bullshit that everyone was fed that still makes problems for everyone to begin with. Later on, we said sex is physical, gender is mental, and those don't necessarily have to match up, and you can choose to change your sex to conform to your mental. But now that we know that sex has no actual clear physical definition that we can give it, the newest thinking among radical queer circles is that actually sex and gender are either the same thing or very closely tied, but instead of informed by your body, they're informed by who you are. Like, who you actually are. Your gender is the sex of your body. If you are a trans woman, whether you have gone through a medical transition or not, your body is female. If you are a non-binary person, as I am, then your body is neither male nor female. It is non-binary.
Or both.
Yeah. Or it is both. If that is the way you engage with the non-binary.
See,
idea.
So I'm gonna say something, and so humans, just from what we do, we have a hard time grasping things. Mm-hmm. So we like to simple, like every classification of anything and everything. Every classification of everything is made to simplify.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's not a useful thing.
It's, what I was saying was the issue with that is as we evolve, mm-hmm. as technology evolves, as science evolves, things get more complicated.
Yeah.
And humans, we really can't handle that. Like, that's honestly why I think that, I mean, besides the ingrained issues we have as a society, why things are so tense in the world right now, is because we are sitting on this what you call it, this breaking point, precipice. There we go.
Yeah.
We're sitting on this precipice where we're either going to have to, like, as a species, accept that things are a lot more complicated than we think they are, and we're going to have to change with them, or we are going to have to say we're going to stop, no more progression. And saying no more progression is it for humanity. That's it.
Yeah.
Stagnation is the only sin. There are no sins.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and the thing that makes us so good at categorizing and simplifying, putting things in boxes, it's an evolutionary tool, right? Like, that helped us make good decisions back when the decisions that we had to make were simple, right? Is this thing going to kill me or is it not? Can I eat this thing or can I not? Can I mate with this person or can I not? Right?
I was just about to say, can I fuck it or can I not?
Yeah. Right. So those decisions were simple. And as our society, as humanity has increased in complexity, the world around us has vastly increased in complexity, even in our lifetimes, and we're not that old. Right?
I mean, at least I'm not.
Will you shut up?
I am 378,000 years old, and you.
I'm way. I will tell you this. I'm 3 years older than Keem. I am way more annoyed at Keem's old jokes than I am about my age. I don't care about my age. I'm just annoyed that Keem keeps trying to joke about it. Anyway, but so we're not that old, and the world around us has vastly increased in complexity in our lifetimes, right? And but we haven't lost the tendency to categorize and simplify, and that used to serve us really well, but now it stands in our way more than it's helpful.
I wouldn't say necessarily that it fully stands in our way. I think we just need to take the time to step back and recognize the symbol is not the reality.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if you find something that challenges the symbol, just recognize this is reality asserting itself. Like, just embrace the chaos of it and live with the nonsense, knowing that this reality you've constructed for yourself is not an absolute reality, and be open to learning from the times when absolute reality presents itself to you.
And that's why Prince turned himself into a symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, that's literally, it's like, I will not be owned, I will not be defined, I am this. And I love Prince. He is my hero.
Yes, we know.
He was a beautiful person in a number of ways.
Also a bit of a dick.
I mean,
but
yeah,
so
probably.
is everyone.
Yeah.
So is everyone.
Everybody is somehow terrible in some ways. Well, maybe not full. Well, yeah. Everybody is in some way terrible in some ways.
As Dr. King said, there is a little, what was it? There is a little good, or there's a little bad in the best of us and a little good in the worst of us.
Yeah.
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 It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, forgot where we were again.
The line between good and evil goes through the hearts of man.
I still need to get that tattoo.
Yep.
I need to tell you, I simplified it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this so that I love that quote, and I'm going to get a tattoo about it because I like tattoos that are meaningful. I'm just going to get a bold black line that runs down the center of my chest.
Awesome. That's super simplified.
Yes.
Well, see, I am because I am basic as fuck, but it's kind of my symbol. Back to the whole balance thing, but I'm eventually getting the yin yang symbol in the middle of my back.
Mm-hmm.
I might get the sacred cow at some point, which, for anyone who is not aware, the sacred cow is actually a symbol of Discordianism. It is the yin-yang symbol, but instead of two dots, it has a pentagon on one side and the golden apple of discord on the other.
Yep.
Yep.
Yup.
Representing the eternal balance of the hodgepodge.
The hodge and the podge.
Yeah, the hodgepodge.
If I ever have twins, I'm going to name them Hodge and Podge.
No, you're not. Don't lie.
No. Do you think that you think that's a lie? You think me? You think I would not name kids something ridiculous?
I mean, probably something ridiculous, but would you really go for Hodge and Podge when there are so many other wonderful, nonsensical things you could name your children?
Yes, because Esme challenged me.
I mean, I feel like the person that you have these children with will probably have something to say about it. Although maybe that person will also be into it. I don't know, because that person won't be me.
Look, I'm going to put my children's name up for a vote. Everyone gets to put a name in the hat, and we choose one.
You're a special kind of human, Keem. I love you.
Again,
You're weird.
The other person whose child this is probably going to have a say.
Look, they're going to know what's going down before the seed is planted.
I mean,
look,
they're going to know that that's the way you are, but they're still going to have a say in this decision-making process over the course of the gestation of this child.
But see, that's the thing. We're going to discuss this before the gestation. We have to come to this agreement before the seed is planted.
I mean, but also they will need to be. They will need to have the right to make any change in opinion known over the course of the gestation as well.
I am very coercive.
That makes me not want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, admittedly, we're kind of all coercive in some way because we're socialized to be that.
I won't force someone to come over to my side of thinking, but I'm very convincing, and I'm cute.
You are cute.
I will admit to both of those things. But then I think all three of us are very cute.
That's true.
See, you're just biased.
Me?
Yeah.
How am I biased?
Because
I'm the only one in this podcast that's not fucking others on this podcast.
Hey, I am.
Okay, I have a thing that I'm sad about.
Oh no.
Because I'm me, I'm looking at fountain pens on eBay while we're on this conversation.
Here we go.
So I found one. It's really cool. I like it. On eBay. So I'm on eBay, right? And on eBay in the about this item, it's condition, quantity, brand, material, features, gender.
Gender of pen?
Yes. For boys and girls.
How?
It's not it's not a designation of pen, but a designation of who should buy the pen.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Oh.
Yes.
No.
It's a pen.
Because
it's so cute, but I don't want to buy it because of that.
I was very confused because I thought, are pens gendered?
Yeah,
I thought that this was some esoteric gender knowledge.
No, because this
pen
is
knowledge.
No, because this is
American
America,
marketing,
where everything you don't want to accidentally buy something for a gender that's not yours, right?
Yeah, you don't want to have sex with the wrong pen.
God forbid that I use man deodorant or soap. Or razors. I can't use man razors. Nope.
Mm-mm. Did you know that if
I don't
use the more expensive lady razors?
I don't use razors anyway. I have not used a razor in 8 months. Probably.
I have
my armpits are impressive.
I have a buzz thing, and I have scissors, and that's how I groom my beautiful beard.
Yes.
And that's what I do. Sometimes I groom some other things, but I never take an actual razor to that shit.
We're just hairy people on this show.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
mammals.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, we've just got that aesthetic going. If you enjoy being hairy, then you're in good company amongst us. If you don't enjoy being hairy, then like that's all fine too. Like
you do you.
you're still in good company amongst us. We will still think you're cute.
Yes.
Oh, that's so true.
I like cute humans.
Cute humans.
Yes.
Which, admittedly, a lot of us are cute.
All of us. We're all cute.
In some way.
See, again, I feel like you guys are hyping us, and then...
If you like hanging out with cute humans, get in touch. Come hang out with us.
Yeah.
We're all cute.
We all need friends.
Cute friends.
I need friends.
Keem needs friends. Keem is a very cute... If you live in New York or the surrounding area and you want to hang out with a cute human, I recommend Keem very highly.
Yes, me too.
He's cute. He's funny. Except when he makes puns. Maybe
I think the puns are funny.
Maybe you're into that sort of thing. I don't know.
He also cooks.
He does cook very well.
Yes. So if you want to hang out with a cute human who may cook you a really tasty meal, my boy.
My boy.
My boy.
I'm sad. Sorry.
Don't be sad. Be happy. We're talking about how awesome you are.
Well, feel the way you feel. Like
that is true. Feel your feelings.
Yeah. But also, we do sincerely want your happiness.
Yes.
So me too.
Yeah.
I think that's something we all can agree on.
Yeah. All of us want to be happy and want each other to be happy. And ultimately, that's kind of the core of all people, I feel like. If we could only be set not to, like, be pitted against each other. And that's the ultimate core of my radicalism, I think. I just want to see people cooperating and working on building the world that actually serves us.
Yes.
Instead of serving a world that is not for us.
And honestly, that sounds like a good end to this segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will return with sex later.
Hey, you stole my thing.
Oh, sorry. You can say your thing.
And we will return to the sex segment right after a brief musical interlude.
Hide your booze in the toilet tank. Pack the smokes for rainy days. And hope your wife collects your thrown out songs. I can't remember much these days. It's alcohol or faulty jeans. Sometimes I forget that I'm 20 shit years old. And I ain't done. At least not yet. So play your songs in a different key and hope that there's a God that sees you trying, even though you know there ain't. The option to run away was gone the second you heard her say I will outside of that holy Nashville stage. Force yourself to be brave. Well, suck it up, old friend. We're nowhere near the end. This point there ain't I crush my fear like a shotgun beer. I crush my fear like a shotgun beer. I crush my fear like a shotgun beer. I crush my fear like a shotgun.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the sex segment. Keem needs to click more quietly, please.
I'm not I wasn't even clicking right there.
I heard it.
Yeah, something
Anyway,
was moving.
so welcome to the sex segment. So normally the sex segment is the lighthearted piece at the end of our deep conversations. However, today I deferred, like Keem said when we were in the news segment. I deferred my news segment to the sex segment because these things are linked for me today. So what we are looking at right now for the sex segment is the piece of legislation that has passed both the Senate and the House and is currently on the president's desk waiting for a signature, which will happen.
Slimy fuck.
Yeah, but it's referred to most often as SESTA, SESTA. Sometimes it's called FOSTA-SESTA because the SESTA is actually part of the larger piece of legislation. So SESTA is Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, and FOSTA is I forget what it is. Something about online sex trafficking, right? But so the intent of this piece of legislation is to make sex trafficking more difficult by reducing the online channels by which people can commit sex trafficking. However, the language of the act and what it actually is going to do, and the means by which it says it's going to go about doing the things that it's supposed to do, have way broader implications for anybody who really and honestly anybody who talks about sex online. You know, like me.
We do.
We do. We talk about sex online in a public forum, right? So, but also it's already had a noticeable impact on sex workers and how sex workers are able to go about their business, and it will continue to have these effects. So, what it does is, so in order to reduce sex trafficking that is enabled by websites, right? Sex trafficking that takes place online or that's facilitated online. This act will now hold internet like entities, like companies, platforms that are online, responsible for any illegal activity that takes place through using their service, right? So the intent is to reduce sex trafficking by requiring companies to police the activity that happens on their site and to report it and to make sure and to block people who are sex traffickers. But what this is doing then also is requiring these companies to police, to monitor and then police anybody who might be talking about anything that might be wrong. Mm-hmm. So, and this is leaving it very much open to the interpretation of the people who are monitoring this. So y'all can jump in anytime, please. I'm rambling.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, it's very clear that opens leaving it open-ended like that. It's very clear that can easily become a tool for like heightened depression in online spaces. Like
basically anything that mentions like sex can really be targeted. Whether it's involved in sex trafficking or not, which that is way too broad. That is over inclusive like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and what's going on, or what's showing up, how this is showing up already, is that some services like Craigslist and Backpage have opted to close down their channels completely. Like Craigslist Personals is no longer a thing. There are no more personal ads on Craigslist. Backpage is closed down. There's a few other places that are like that are shutting down all or part of the services that they provide. Reddit is shutting down whole subreddits that have that could be linked to that kind of like they've shut down r/sugar daddy. They've shut down there's a few of them that they've just completely shut down. They're like, this is no longer a thing. Other platforms, especially large platforms like Instagram and Twitter and Google, FYI, everybody who uses Google, which is everybody, are monitoring the activity that takes place using their services and then banning people based on the content that they're putting out there. Skype is another one that are just banning accounts based on the content that is going through those channels.
And Skype, with Skype in particular, they're looking for language, like sexual language. So they're going through Skype chats, and if some people, and this gets me. People often use Skype for like if they're like, especially people in relationships, long distance relationships, they also use it for like video sex and video play.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And now those accounts are certain to be flagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also raises all kinds of privacy issues.
Yes.
But no, it's a very, 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 very like far-reaching piece of legislation, and it's also very strange that it's a federal legislation. There's while it's supposed to be to combat sexual trafficking, it's clearly a piece of legislation designed to police morality.
Yes,
they're looking for people who have or put sexual content out there.
Yes,
and that's of course, and it's going to get signed into law, especially with a commander in chief who is getting his ass spanked both figuratively and legally by a porn star.
Yeah, but also, like, this is going to get signed. This is. Have you looked up the numbers on how this passed? This passed with an overwhelming majority in both houses of Congress.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the Senate was like 97-2.
Yeah, because it's here's the thing. The those on the right, of course, they're going police morality. That's what they do. That's what they love to do. And a lot of people on the left are also in that camp. But the left also sees it as, we have to do something to combat sex trafficking. So
because sex trafficking is a bad thing. Like,
of course,
sex trafficking is bad.
Here's the thing: these are the way bills are passed now. These big omnibus bills, they incorporate so much, so they put all these different provisions and stuff in them.
Yeah.
To basically like slide shit in under the radar, and basically it's the reasoning to combat sex trafficking is really just a cover to sneak things under the radar in this omnibus bill. Generally how things go.
Yep.
And also, you also have to think with this could not only have effect on just, people expressing any kind of sexuality or anything online, but it could have a drastic effect, especially with the repeal of net neutrality on internet censorship.
Yeah.
Because now service providers are going to they're going to be more likely to change the way they provide services and block and don't show certain things under the guise of, well, we're doing this under the law.
Yeah. Yeah, this is... It's gross. This is gross.
Oh, yeah. It's...
Yeah.
Of
Well,
course.
and so the effect that that this bill has already had also, right? So even so I have seen a subset of people online having conversations about this, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is bad, but I don't do any of this stuff. So, like, who is being affected by this, right? So the sex traffickers, and then all the sex workers said, hey, guys, we can't do our work anymore. We don't have any way of finding and screening clients safely. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole bunch of people who are like, oh, well, sex work is wrong too, so I don't care, right? But that's fucked up, right? Sex work is work. And this bill has made it has already had the actual effect of making sex work more dangerous.
Yep.
It's more difficult and more dangerous for sex work. And the worst, I'm going to say the worst. Also, this is not going to be effective. Right? What this is doing is it's taking this will have the effect of taking sex trafficking out of certain services, right? You can they have Craigslist is not going to be a platform for that anymore. Mm-hmm. These services are being monitored for that, so that's not going to be a thing anymore. Mm-hmm. Maybe, but what this is, it's not going to stop the sex trafficking. It's going to make it harder to investigate it because it's going to push these communications into the secure channels. Yep. Right? That can't be monitored.
It's probably it's honestly probably going to make it worse.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. This is going to have the opposite effect of what they want. It's just going to make it more difficult to catch people who are engaging in sex trafficking.
Yep.
And it's a lot of I was just going to say, for a lot of independent sex workers that use Craigslist and Backpage, because I actually know a few people, that was their way of basically doing it on their own. So they could monitor who they do, and they didn't have and for lack of a better word, a pimp.
Yeah.
This is just gonna run people back to abusive overseer like situations because they will have access to the channels of revenue.
Yeah.
And they don't want you don't want that. You don't want I hate everyone. Also for the people going sex work is bad and whatever, and this doesn't affect me. But it does, because we live in an age where everyone is sexual except for your ace people.
Yeah. But
for all the sexual people, we live in a technological age. People share their sexuality with each other through technology, through the internet.
Yes, I certainly do.
Mm-hmm.
So with this law, you're basically, because these different sites and things are going to be looking for the type of language, the type of things that may be sex trafficking or human trafficking, or may be tied to it or may lead into it. There are so many things that are under that umbrella that every other person is probably going to get swept under there some way, somehow.
Yeah.
You could send a eggplant emoji and a dick pic to your significant other, and somebody catches that and be like, oh, well, this person is trying to pick up a prostitute.
Because there's so much interpretation in this.
Yep.
And next thing you know, you're blocked. Or I think of like on the cam on the sex worker side, you have your cam people.
Yeah.
Who are not engaged in most cases. You can engage in illegal things in any job, but are not engaging in anything illegal.
Nope.
And this is where it gets into constitutionality, because you can't really pass laws to Congress can't pass laws that will take away someone's ability to do their chosen profession if it's legal, like a legal profession.
Yeah.
And I would think, as for like legal sex workers, like your legal escorts and your cam people, they would have a constitutional objection and constitutional case against that law.
Yeah.
Because it's very nearly eliminating, and could possibly, considering how far it reaches, could possibly eliminate their jobs at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it reaches so far as to say, well, we can't stop cam people from like being like being like in human trafficking, they could eliminate campsites.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge problem. Like, that's a huge problem for people who have chosen that as their profession, who are making money that way. So it's fucked up. But this is what happens when you have your holier than thou conservative majority.
Yeah.
And I mean, even continuing like all for this law, there's just a rash of like state laws being passed that are targeting porn and targeting all kinds of like sex stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about those
Yeah.
previously in a couple of different episodes.
Like there's definitely an established pattern of people targeting sexuality.
Yes.
Like legislatures targeting sexuality, and honestly, this is just my theory. I think it's not only just the cause of sex trafficking or human trafficking, but I think a lot of it's a pushback of LGBT plus lifestyles becoming more acceptable mainstream wise. I think legislators are going, oh well, we're going to, if we pass laws to target the sexual deviancy, we can combat these dangerous homosexuals.
Well, yeah, we could have an entire talk about that, because admittedly, LGBTQIA plus lifestyles and just lives are not really respected by these people, excepting in the case of white LG, who exist in this very heterosexual seeming kind of way. Like, the men are, these gay men are both still like very masculine in appearance and in action, and they are monogamous, looking to get married and adopt some kids, and the women are barely even thought about, admittedly, not really accepted. So basically it's just the G, and it's only white G's, and it's only white monogamous heterosexual affirming G's,
Homonormativity can suck it.
Yeah.
I'll put it like this: it's heteronormativity in gay face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. They're affirming that one little sliver while stomping on all of the rest.
Right.
Like
It's tokenism, you know.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's of course unless people actually speak out against it, it's going to continue to happen.
Yep.
Also, unless people change their minds, change the way they think about certain people. And honestly, I will give it. This is going to sound weird. I will give it to Stormy Daniels because
You're right. That sounded weird.
it did. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. But Stormy Daniels, like porn stars have in the past couple of years started to become more mainstream, but only when they've tried to make transitions into Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But Stormy Daniels is the first time in a long time that a porn star has been in the mainstream as a porn star. Like, as in, this is like an acknowledgement of this is their job, or this was their job in her case. And it's, people can't avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Like porn can't be that thing that you do in the dark, because you got a porn star on 60 Minutes.
Yep.
And even the person in the highest office in the country has been involved with a porn star. So it can't be like, oh, it's a secret, nobody does this, and only the sexual deviants do it. You have to acknowledge that. I mean, he's probably a deviant. He's definitely a deviant of many sorts. But
I mean, frankly, he's a fucking sexual abuser.
Yeah, no, he's a human deviant of all varieties. He is a serial abuser, serial sexual assaulter.
Yes.
Word?
Yeah.
Serial asshole.
Yes.
All around gigantic. I almost called him a cunt, but I have way more respect for cunts.
I have way more respect for assholes, frankly.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Both of them.
There is not a word in the English language that I could describe to this person because I have respect for those words.
Repugnant.
I would have to
repugnant, atrocious.
You know what? Repugnant at least has a good ring to it. It sounds fancy. Like, I wouldn't even give him a nice fancy word. I would have to make up a word.
Gross.
Terrible. Horrible. Sad.
All of the above.
Yeah.
I was
Anyway,
just trying to make it sound like a Trump tweet.
I'm the timer. We're running almost at 2 hours.
That means we're actually under time.
Well, but then we have to add music and our intro and our outro. Plus, we still have to sign off.
So we finished?
Go look up what SESTA is. At this point, it's too late to stop this from being signed into law. It passed the House. It passed the Senate. Do not think that just because this is targeting illegal activity that it won't affect how you operate online, because it will. If you do anything sexual at all using any kind of website, this will probably have some effect on you.
Hell, if you use social media.
Yeah, if you use social media, this will have an effect on you. Right? This will affect you. So pay attention.
And I will say, if there are legal sex workers who are listening to the show, you are the ones that can actually bring a constitutional challenge to this law. the public can make an outcry, can make politicians pay attention, but you can make the courts pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, there is a constitutional challenge, and you are the ones that can actually, like, the court will accept you making it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you probably don't have the funds, but if you can somehow find the ability, find some support from a legal group of some sort who may take it pro bono, and you feel strongly about it and about challenging this law, I recommend seeking out a constitutional challenge. Like, I recommend using the courts if you feel passionate about it and can do it, whether without help or with it. It's possible.
Yeah. So now,
with that, it brings us to the end of our show. Thank you, Ari, for coming back again, apparently for the fourth time, because I forgot another 2 out of the other 3.
Yep, you did.
I apologize. I am an asshole.
We all are, buddy.
That's true. Special thanks to the Living Room Leftists for providing us with our theme song.
Yep.
And just for being all around good people.
That is true.
Good people who are assholes as well.
Yes.
That's true. Special thanks to our musical guests for providing us with the music today. So, guys, I actually do have some announcements. An announcement. Starting Monday, it'll probably be slightly before this is posted, unless I post this early on Monday. There will be a Discord channel set up for listeners of our show. If you would like to come in and chat with us, ask us questions, try to finesse your way into coming on and talking, or just want to shoot the shit, join our Discord. If you have Discord downloaded somewhere, or download it so you can come chat with us. It should be fun, but like I said, this Discord server should go live on Monday around noon Pacific time. Wait, Atlantic, whatever coast I'm on. I don't know what time I'm on. New York time.
Eastern.
There we go. I don't know time zones. But yeah, it should go up around noon Eastern time. So be on the lookout for that. Come chat with us. It will be a lot of fun. I have been I've recently started using Discord, and I enjoy chatting with friends and people. So yeah, listeners of the show, you want to get involved? Come talk with us. Should be fun. I'm trying to think of anything else. As always, if you want to come be on the show, want to come shoot the shit with us, you want to come yell, you want to come talk about some shit that's got you angry, hey, let us know. We will have you on. Honestly, I am in need of some guests because Esme's going to go missing one of these weekends in the near future.
Yep.
And someone's got to come up with the show. So, like I said, if you want to be on, want to come talk with us, please just contact us via Facebook. I try to answer on there as quickly as possible. If you're a musician who would like to have your music featured, also contact us. We will play your music all damn day. We will have you on, and we can talk and play music and stuff. Hell, you can invite us to your studio and we can record there because we like live sessions.
Yep.
So contact us. Trying to think of anything else. Once again, for Trans Visibility Day, we love you guys. We love you. Hugs all around.
You are visible.
We see you.
For this one day and one day only, don't attempt to make any jewel heist, because you are visible.
Yes. Anyway.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me this time.
That's true. It was Ari.
It was
All right.
Ari.
Well, looks like it's the end of our show. As always, this has been Keem and Esme, and we are out.
But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.